Hello, everyone. Happy Monday for all of you. I am Geisa Rodrigues. I am a CEO from AJ3 Consulting. We are a 20 years market research company located in Latin America. Our headquarters is in Brazil. And we cover Latin America, Portugal, and Spain for market research and market studies. Well, this time on this Monday, what we're doing today is we have done a proprietary study, which is our own study. We do some of our own studies sometimes, where we wanted to understand a little bit on AI and how Latin American people, especially, are thinking about this in terms of their work, if they're how they're feeling about this, how they are, if they have any fear or if they are enthusiastic or whatever they are. So we wanted to share this with you. Okay, so this is what we did. Some to give you some clues. We don't have a real representativeness of our countries in terms of volume, because this is not really a quantitative study, but this is to give you an idea of okay, maybe this is how our people here are thinking about AR related to their work. So, well, that's it. So let's start. I have prepared a presentation here for you. And then I'm going to show you some of our few findings. Well, just to give you an idea, yeah, our study was based on this artificial intelligence in the workplace in Latin America. So we wanted to talk to some people. This is not a study that is bought or is hired by any company. This is done by us. And this is what we do sometimes to share some interesting information with all of you who are interested about it. So what we really want to do is, okay, let us give us some idea of what we did. And that's it. Well, just to give you an idea, later on, we're going to have this same live, the same video on YouTube with lyrics. So if you prefer checking this with lyrics in Portuguese or maybe in Spanish, you can have this access. And then we're going to share this report as well in our LinkedIn profile, which is Geisa Rodrigues from AJ3. So whoever want to check this later, it's going to be offered for you in our LinkedIn profile. Okay, so you're going to have some web links to check this. Okay, so that's it. So what we could get from this finding, and let's see what we have here so we can share it with you. Well, so we know artificial intelligence is part of our workplace. Is it really? So that's what we want to know. So we want to know how is it seen by professionals, right, across Latin America, and we also got some responses from Spain as well, which is one of our coverages. Well, this is exclusive survey by us, right, conducted in July and August this year. So this is pretty new information and pretty fresh. So, in general, AI is quickly changing how people work, right, around the world. Latin America and Spain, they, this change meets different local challenges like loss, internet access, education level. So we wanted to check how this research, really could understand how people in Latin America feel about AI, and if there are some other items that we should care. Well, we just wanted to give you an idea that there was 100% online survey that was available in language like Portuguese, Spanish, and even in English. We had a little bit more than 200 responses, right? The 200 responded that really completed the survey, that really were interested in giving us their opinion about it. Well, we had participating countries like Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Spain, Guatemala, Mexico, Peru, Uruguay, Portugal, El Salvador, Venezuela, Honduras, and even some few information from US and Australia. But to give you to be honest, we don't have much information, much volume from some countries. Like even Chile was a very low response, or Uruguay, or we don't have much findings on US, on Australia. This is because it's basically not our goal. So the information we have here is all people that answered this was very volunteered. We didn't anticipate it compromising with national representatives. So this is very random. We don't really have like, okay, we're gonna have minimum score from each of the country. This is not true. We just sent to some of our contacts and some of our LinkedIn followers, and they just answer the survey themselves. So we cannot tell you, oh, okay, we have minimal representative numbers of answers in each country. So this is all to tell you that, well, all the findings you're going to find here, this is just to give a clue or an idea or a pathway that you could later on confirm if this is really how they feel, because we cannot confirm that all the countries they really think like this. So this is just to give an idea, because this has no statistically representative. So this is what we have. So this survey took around 25 days, right? We had a very similar number of distribution in terms of gender, half and half, kind of 52 women, 46 men, and 2 non-binary. So this is how the picture looked like in terms of the people who participated. Well, most responses were done by people between 25 and 54 years old. And sectors where these professionals work are industry, retail, technology, education, healthcare, financial services, consumer services, marketing, and government. Okay. Okay. So the sample actually includes voices that I told you from major Latin American markets, plus Spain. The strong representative in terms of people who really voluntarily participated are from Brazil. And very surprisingly, we have very good responses from El Salvador, which is Central America, part of Latin America, and also Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, and a little bit on Peru, Chile, and Uruguay and Spain. We had few responses, but well, we're going to show you if this maybe can drive you to then try to get more information on each country, if you'd like to go on in a next study, or if you want to do something on your own to understand if they really think like this. So yeah, so this is what we did this time. Okay, so let's go to some of the responses that we had, some of the questions we did. It was not very deeply, a very deep study, but that's what we could do, we could get and get some information. So, well, what we did was just for you to have an idea of how many answers we had by country. So in the end, we had collected 218 answers among 16 countries. So we had Brazil with very nice number of participation, 92 answers. We had El Salvador with 31, Argentina with 23 answers. So yeah, seems like you're seeing me now. Yeah, so these are the number of answers we got. And well, what we started asking is if the use of AI, how people are really using it. You know, we asked if they currently use AI at their work, right? So okay, so what we had is like men are using like basically 78% use AI, and women 73% use an AI. So what we are seeing is like, which is not a surprise, that the younger, on 25 to 44 years old, they kind of use more. 85 to 80% of this age range, they really use. So, and then we see 50 people ranging from 50 to 64. years old, 72% of them use. And a little bit on the higher group, between 45 and 54 exactly, they use it a little bit on 64% of use AI. So the use of AI. Let's see this by country now. So what we see here, it's well, Chile said they use 100%, but let's remember that Chile, we only had one answer. Uruguay, they 100, they use it 100% of the people use, but we had like 5 answers. Spain, 5 answers too, 100% use. Peru, we only had 1 or 2 answers, so they also said 100%. So, well, even if we have 100% for Uruguay, Spain, Peru, and Chile, we need to be a little bit careful because we had very low number of answers. Okay, so we really don't know if this is a trend. So this is why we are sharing this this live with you, this finding with you, just to give you an idea of, okay, maybe if you're interested in one country or one other, maybe it's something that you could do some market research to try to understand a little bit more one or two country. Well, Mexico, we had 66% of people using. Wow, and that's interesting because Mexico only had 3 answers too. So not sure. Maybe Mexico is still using AI less than Peru, Spain, Uruguay, and Chile because they had similar numbers of answers of people who completed the survey. So maybe Mexico is using less, so that's something that we need to maybe care a little bit. Well, and then the countries that we have more answers, which are El Salvador, Colombia, Brazil, and Argentina. It's very interesting that we have almost 93% of people who answer using AI in El Salvador, which is a small country, and at the same time we have very good numbers of answers for this survey. So maybe are they more techy than the other countries? I don't know. Well, Colombia is also with a very good number, 87% of people who are already using AI. So it's very interesting to know. And then we have Brazil and Argentina, very similar in a lower degree, very similar to Mexico, but differently. Brazil and Argentina, we had much more number of answers. So, well, maybe is this saying something really for Brazil and Argentina? Maybe they use AI less than Colombia and El Salvador. So that's something that we may be, interested in checking later. Well, they said the most common tools they use are chatbots like ChatGPT. So this is what basically what we're talking about. Okay, so the next question we did was, okay, we wanted to understand if what they use in as a tool and the AI they use, how is the relation between the use of AI and the training and policies from their company? Okay, because when they say they use AI, maybe they're using on their own, not exactly because their company is asked to, or this is maybe not related to how the companies they work for are asking. So maybe this is nothing related to anything provided or trained by their company. So this is what we wanted to understand. If the AI they're using is just because these are tools that are available to everyone and this is why they're using, or if there's something already from the companies, if the company is already training them or giving them some instructions to use AI, or how is this already in the companies? Are they providing something to their professionals? So what we find is, so this question was if the professionals have access to AI training if their companies have formal AI policies, right? So what we see here, this is still very low. So seems like most of their work, right? What they do with AI, they do it on their own. It's not because of the company. So we see here the training on AI in companies Of course, they may have this may impact on the size of the company. Probably we can maybe have this information a little bit on, but we did include here. But if anyone is interested, we can always check. Yeah, so we see like, okay, Argentina. Remember that Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and El Salvador, and maybe Mexico, they are the ones that really have more answers, right? So these they are like okay, Argentina, Brazil, and El Salvador, Mexico. They had like 1/3 of the people who answered here said they had some training on AI. Okay, that's interesting. But look how interested is Colombia. Colombia also had some training. It seems like proportionally of number of answers that Colombia people is giving to us on this survey, like half of them had some training. That's very interesting. Well, and then remember again, Chile, Peru is Chile and Peru. They have 100%, but they only had like a couple of answers. We don't know if this is a trend for Peru and Chile. Maybe they have more training than the others, but we have very little answers from them. Okay, and then Uruguay and Spain, they didn't have any training. Okay, and then not only training, but let's talk about formal company policies on AI. And then the numbers get a little bit less, right? So we had Argentina now with only 13% of people saying, oh, okay, our company have some policies on AI. Brazil, similar to the previous answers on training. So like 1/3 of people answered said, okay, my company already have some policies. And then we have Colombia that on training said they had some 56% of people said that they have training on their companies on AI, but only 50%, 55% of them really had feel they have a real, formal company policy on AI. And then we can have also the same situation with El Salvador, with 1/3 of people having training, but only 14% feel they have like policies, and then we have Uruguay and Spain like not having anything on terms of training or terms of policy. So we have these countries like, okay, all the AI they use on their own. So okay, is this really representative of these countries or not? We don't know, but that's a possibility. So the next question we ask them, it's okay how they feel, they are informed about AI. So, and then we have here, okay, we have, one or two people who answered Chile, they feel they are informed about AI on a scale to 1 to 10. So the ones that mention 6 to 10 score, that's what we consider having, most of the information or knowledge on AI. So, and then we have Chile here saying, okay, I'm pretty much knowledgeable about AI, but remember, this is one or two people, okay, who answered. And then we have the other countries like Colombia and Brazil and Mexico, pretty similar, between 6 to 8 scores, saying they feel they are very well knowledge about AI, like 60 to 70% of them say. Argentina pretty are very low knowledge, and also Peru about AI, because, well, this is how they feel. Okay, so the score here, I mean, the information here is how they feel they are knowledgeable or not about this. So this is not exactly a kind of training or a kind of tools that we use to measure. We didn't actually measure how well informed or how well knowledgeable they are. We actually asking how they feel about this. And then we have Uruguay and Spain, very similar, saying only 25% say they have, some knowledge, very low knowledge. So this is how people feel about AI in the different countries. Okay, so the next finding, it's about the impact of AI and the perception from these countries in terms of, okay, is AI opportunity or risk in the end for them? How are professionals feeling about this, you know? So most of countries in this region show a balanced perspective. That means they recognize risk and they recognize opportunity at the same time. So this is not opposite situation. You know, it's opportunity and risk are kind of going on together. So for Argentina, for example, 33% of people say both. These AI is both opportunity and risk. And this is kind of the same trend for Colombia. Like most of them, 74%, 75% say it's both, right? Um, and then these countries at the same time, talking about Argentina, they feel a little bit of 26% feel risky. This is risky. AI is risky. And then from Colombia, we have a little bit less risky. So I don't know, maybe Colombia people feel more enthusiastic or they less threatened maybe about AI. When we go to Brazil and El Salvador, and I'm just making clear that we put in El Salvador together with Argentina, Colombia, and Brazil, even if these three are largest countries, it's because we had more voluntary information, voluntarily people participating in this survey. Okay, so it does not mean that we are putting more efforts on El Salvador than the other countries which are bigger, like Peru or Chile or even Spain. But this is because we had more answer. So in Brazil, we had like, okay, 46 people, 46% of people saying both opportunity and risk, which is pretty different from Argentina and Colombia, who thought this is both risky and opportunity. And Brazil, pretty similar to El Salvador, that also think 35% of people think this is both opportunity and risk. And also very interesting to know that Brazil and El Salvador seems a little bit more enthusiastic, maybe. They think, if you compare to Argentina and Colombia, they think this is more opportunity than risk, right? Because we had 29% of people in Brazil thinking that AI is opportunity, while only 20% think this is risk. And El Salvador also had 29% thinking this is opportunity, and only 21 saying this is risky. If we compare to Argentina, Colombia, okay, they think it's more opportunity. So maybe Brazil and El Salvador are more positive about having opportunity, right? While Argentina and Colombia, they think this is both, right? They think this is both. They kind of balance both. While we have Uruguay saying 100% both, because we actually have very few answers, while Chile and Spain and Peru also think, Chile and Spain think there are more opportunities, and while Peru thinks this is more risky. But again, we only have very few answers from these countries, so we have to be very cautious to analyze them, okay? So we wanted to understand what feelings they really have. So these were like a spontaneous answer. We wanted to understand what do they feel, So the most common feelings from them are curiosity and enthusiasm are kind of dominant, So Argentina feel like 53% are curious, while 20% are enthusiastic. Brazil, 30% of people are curious, 30% are enthusiastic, and a little bit of 38% are concerned. Colombia, 31% curious, 50% is enthusiastic, and while only almost 19 concerned. Well, the few answers we had in Mexico, we saw that almost 67% of them are enthusiastic, and even 33% are curious. We don't know if this is the trend for the whole country because I had very few answers, but is this maybe a way? Is this a pathway to show what people from these countries really feel? Well, and then Chile, Peru, Uruguay, they feel they are enthusiastic, and Spain, curious. And well, El Salvador, we had very good number of answers. They are pretty curious and enthusiastic as well. That's very interesting to know how enthusiastic it's, and curiosity are really kind of dominating their feelings, right? In terms of other demographics like gender and age, so we had like women and men being very similar in terms of, enthusiastic and curiosity, but men are feeling a little bit more insecure than women for some reason. In terms of age, well, the younger ones, 25 years old to 35 years, 34 years old, they're most enthusiastic, the most enthusiastic, 50, 80% of them. While we see the very, very young ones, few enthusiastic, a little bit curious, like 18 to 24 years old. And well, the mid-age ones, like, okay, 35 to 40, 35 years old to 44, they are somehow very good, enthusiastic, and a little bit curious too. Very similar to 50 to 64 years old, kind of half of them are enthusiastic, and like one third are curious about how, AI will be going to present to us in the next, from now on. So we also asked them if they feel some fear about, being replaced in their job. Is AI possibly replacing them in their job? How do they feel about it? And then we have here like Argentina, 13% of them say so. Why one third say, well, maybe they're not really already totally afraid, but that's a possibility. Well, Brazil, we have like 90% saying so, that, well, that's a fear, while 15% say maybe. And then we have a little bit more on Colombia. Even if Colombia showed some enthusiastic before, it does not mean that they don't feel fear. So yeah, so we have like 25% of people say, okay, this is a fear, but 12% say maybe. Well, Salvador, though, we had very good number of answers. They are very, maybe they're more the courageous ones, because 7% of them only said they feel fear, and 21% say maybe. While we had here Chile, the one or two people who answered don't seem to feel fear. Neither Uruguay and Peru. Yeah, Peru seems to feel fear, but we had like two answers from Peru. And with Spain, no fear, but 100% saying maybe. And in Spain, we also had like three answers, I guess. So while the respondents say they feel enthusiastic about AI in the workplace, at the same time, the same group also expressed, 100% of answer in terms of Peru, right? So this is how it goes. In terms of other demographics like gender, so we have the ones that are, the higher, in gender, we have like, okay, more men likely to answer no fear, maybe. And then in terms of age, the younger ones, basically no fear. And then we goes a little bit older, and then start having, a little concern, a little bit older and older, then more concerned. So this is how it showed to us. Okay, and then if we want to connect these people who felt threatened in their job somehow, is there a connection with some kind of the sectors? Well, of course, we didn't have all the sectors. I mean, or most of the sectors in our survey, but the sectors that we had, we saw some answers like here. So these answers on being threatened, they were common mentioned by the customer service sector, administrative tasks, design, translation, content, and IT. So these are the ones that somehow feel a little bit more threatened. And it means like the ones having mostly repetitive tasks or standardized creative work. Yeah, so this is the ones that feel a little bit more threatened by the possibility of AI replacing their work. Okay, and then we asked them what human skills that they think AI will never overcome them. So what are skills that even if they feel threatened, if they have some concern, and at the same time they are enthusiastic and curious, what would AI never replace a human? So what makes them, the portion of positiveness or enthusiastic or enthusiasm or whatever they feel positive about this, what is what they think it's really positive that's not replaceable as being human beings that AI will never do for them. It's basically saying empathy, creativity, ethical judgment, leadership, and critical thinking. These are adjectives and these are skills that we human would never lose for AI. Even if AI gets more and more intelligent, this is how these people here, these 200 people who answer, they think these are the skills that AI will never overcome us. So let's see some of the spontaneous answer. Some of the countries mentioned, like, okay, Brazil said the ability to make judgments. AI can help, but will never have a soul, right? So in Colombia, creativity, drive to improve, curiosity, AI will never have, and we will. Spain, decisions driven by empathy and care for others. Artistics and social fields, AI could not replace. El Salvador, responsibilities that require a gut feeling when making decisions. So these are things that AI could not replace ours, right? So this is basically things on intuition and feelings on helping others, or things related more to our soul. So that's pretty interesting to know how our professionals are thinking about this. So that's basically that, my friends. We just think the use of AI, feelings, and fear are different in each country. As I told you, we don't really have much more information specifically or more deep or deeper in each country. That's because we didn't do it a statistically representative study. And we think all of the professions who voluntarily answers gave answers to us. This definitely will give some ideas of, okay, maybe that raises up some curiosity from some of you or some of other people, professionals interested, if they want to go deeper maybe in their country to make a real or maybe more representative comparison between countries. So, well, maybe this gives us and gives all of you a clue, right, on this. That's interesting to know because you maybe the ones who will watch this later or will check on this report, who work globally or maybe work with a whole Latin America or Spanish countries like Spanish or even Portugal, which didn't have many answers here, but this is a cover we do. If you maybe want to do some kind of global plan or Latin America plan, it's very interesting that you really focus on checking some local expertise. And this is because people really feel different. A Colombian one feel very different from a Mexican person or even a Brazilian one. So people are really from different culture and they really do think differently and feel differently, even if there's some general trends. But again, we didn't have a representative or whole professionals or whole sectors here. So we'd like to invite you actually to go deeper in Latin America. This is one of our work. So this is one of our expertise, actually. This is what we do. We have expertise in Latin American people. So we do market research, we do studies, we work for global clients, but mainly this is because this is our strength. We have local people. So we know how they feel, and then our professionals, they can really get real information from real local people because they are there, they are locals. So this is what I'd like to invite you. If you'd like to go deeper in Latin American, you can count on us for that. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, really suggest you to really think differently from Latin America countries, so you can really have good knowledge and not just standardize everyone. Because even if most of Latin America, except Brazil, all of them speak Spanish, they even speak Spanish in different ways. And Brazil, it's totally different for them because they speak Portuguese, and which is pretty different from Portuguese from Portugal. So all of this is pretty interesting to know, because the way they feel and the way they act and they perform in their workplace and their lives is pretty different from each other. So that's it, my friend. My friends, thank you so much for being here with us. This is us, AJ3. All of them, they never checked us. If you want to get in touch for any questions or anything would like to happen anyhow, or if you like to have this report for you to, maybe to have an idea, these are real findings from real professionals. And this is going to be available for you in our LinkedIn profile. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here with us. That's pretty interesting to be here with you. And thank you for the ones who joined us. And that's it. Thanks a lot.